Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Friday Charge from the Geek podcast. We're your hosts, Joel and Sebastian. Today, February 21st, 2025, we've got a handful of topics on the docket, such as some potential trouble for Rivian, as well as a new special edition. Cybertruck did pretty well on a crash test, and a couple other little topics. So without further ado, let's plug in and get started. Rivian has announced a new special edition vehicle. On Wednesday of this week, Rivian announced a new special edition of the tri-motor R1 called California Dune. The California Dune edition is a package that features exclusive exterior and interior tweaks. However, the powertrain remains untouched. On the exterior, the vehicle gets a new Dune color, as well as special edition rims that can be had in matte gray or color matched to the truck. The vehicle also comes standard with cargo crossbars, power tonneau cover, MaxTrax recovery boards, and Rivian's all-terrain package, which includes Meteor tires, underbody skid plates, and a spare tire. On the interior, the vehicle forgoes Rivian's Ascend package, which is their top-of-the-line interior, and that's what you would get on other Tri-Max vehicles. Instead, you get the more rugged base interior, the Adventure trim. The California Dune does, however, get a special two-tone interior colorway, and some cleverness such as no carpet on the floor. The floor is actually lined in rubber, and then you put the floor mats on top of it, which is pretty cool and would make it easier to clean up your sand or whatever when you take it to the California dunes. Pricing is going to match that of the regular R1 tri-motor, with the R1T starting at $99,900 and the R1S starting at $105,900. So I think it looks pretty cool. It doesn't have that much going on for it, though, that just makes it truly special, right? It's another grayscale truck.
Yep.
Yeah. It's another gray. The wheels are sweet. I really like the wheels.
So I'm going to show you. The wheels. The wheels are black on here, but I'll show you the ones in the R1S2, which are really cool looking too. So.
Okay. But yeah, it's like, and I think it's cool, that like, okay, cool. It's got the rubber floor, but ultimately it doesn't feel like they added that much that's actually cool and special.
So yeah, I would agree too. It's just a color change, which is kind of cool. Here, I got it up here. Let me share now. Technology is not being well for me. So I like this. I like the rims the same color as the car. Yep. So yes, and I believe that's only on the R1S. The R1T gets the black.
No, you can get them on the T as well. Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. You can get them on the T ones. Yeah. See, this would be. See, this is what I would go for. Is the same color rims. I kind of like what the Lockheed does with the Rally Edition with the different color rims. So yeah.
Yeah.
So you said no extra charge on this? Same charge?
Price? Same price.
Well, yeah, then it's cool. I mean, all they're doing is releasing a new color, which is pretty cool. I mean, has those rugged non-floor mats, which is something I can kind of deal with because I have kids, or not the non-carpeted floor mats. Well, I like because I have kids and my kids trash my my floor mats. But it says it includes these roof-mounted traction boards. So is that at additional cost?
No, so that comes with the California Dune edition.
Ooh, now that's kind of cool looking. So yeah, I like it. If it's an option, and if I ever decided to buy one, I'd buy this color. It's a pretty cool color. So yeah.
It's the same price, and it's like you do technically lose the nicer interior, but it's because they give you the more rugged one.
Yeah, which for me that's fine. I can have a rugged interior. I can have an interior of a work truck. That's fine with me. It doesn't bother me.
Yeah. Moving on, the Cybertruck actually did well in a crash test. The National Highway and Transportation Safety Administration, or NHTSA, because that's too much to say, has released their official crash test results for the Tesla Cybertruck, and to the surprise of many, the stainless steel vessel did better than expected. NHTSA has given the Cybertruck a 5-star overall rating, and in individual testing, the lowest score it received was a 4-star rating for a passenger side frontal test. All other tests were passed with 5 stars. The Cybertruck did receive a 4-star rating on the rollover test, but that's expected for full-size trucks. When I was looking, it looked like NHTSA has only tested the Lightning of the other electric trucks. The Lightning's the only one. And I think the Cybertruck was like 12.4% likely to roll over, and the Lightning was like 12.6 or 12.7. So, I mean, they're pretty neck and neck there. It performed as expected. But yeah, I just thought it was cool. You know, we've been
Do you
seeing
know
a
how
whole
the
bunch of
Lightning did on the NHTSA test too?
5-star.
So yeah.
Yeah, I believe it was also 5-star.
Yeah, I mean that's what a lot of people don't understand with EVs is they are probably one of the safest vehicles you will drive just because the battery is so heavy. And if you get hit, it's almost like a ping pong ball. You're just gonna get moved to the side. You're not gonna get that crumple zone like you would in a normal car because you have so much weight on it. So yeah, I mean we kind of figured out that Teslas are the most safest cars on the road, and I'd expect the same thing with the Cybertruck. But yeah, but it does shock me a little because just the way it's built and what it's made out of.
Well,
so yeah,
that's kind of my discussion on it. Is it's like, yeah, the Cybertruck did well because NHTSA's only testing for how well the vehicle holds up and how well it protects the people inside the car.
Mm-hmm.
They're not testing for what it does to the other guy that the Cybertruck hits, or the other guy who hits the Cybertruck. You might be fine, but then the other guy might not.
How well
did
that Chevy Bolt do when it hit the Cybertruck? So yeah,
right.
Yeah,
it's like the Bolt is a safe car on its own, but how well is it going to handle
hitting a Cybertruck at 60 miles an hour? Yeah, so
yeah, and that's kind of the argument. People is like, don't get me wrong, 5-star safety rating is 5-star safety rating, good job, but you can't help but wonder, like, how would it do if it hit a pedestrian, or how would it do if it hit another small car, or another Cybertruck, or it just, you can't help but wonder.
Totally agree.
Moving on, Georgia's let me start that sentence over again. Rivian's Georgia plant might be in trouble.
And
at
why
the tail
is that,
end
Sebastian?
of the Biden administration, Rivian secured a $6.6 billion loan from the Department of Energy to build out its new manufacturing plant in Georgia. Now, under the Trump administration, the future of that loan is in question, as the new administration seems to be focused on eliminating as many government expenditures as it can, including a very temporary freeze on all loans and funding earlier this month. Rivian, however, does not seem to be publicly bothered by this, as they're already working to hire construction companies and management for the new plant. Rivian is expecting the new plant to bring thousands of jobs to Georgia, with estimates being around 7,500 employees for the factory and over 2,000 jobs for construction. Rivian expects to be producing vehicles at the new plant by the end of 2028. They're planning to produce the new R2 and R3 at the plant, with an expected capacity of up to 400,000 vehicles per year. So, I mean, if Rivian's not worried, Rivian's not worried. But, I mean, you don't typically take out a $6.6 billion loan unless you really need it. And so it's a little concerning that the $6.6 billion loan could vanish, and then they might not get their factory, and then that will slow down their growth, especially considering, they just announced that they actually were profitable this quarter.
Yeah.
Which is great. But, it would suck to have them be profitable and be making profit, and then they can't build the plant, and it kind of sets them back again. Or they can build the plant but have to take on insane amounts of debt in order to do it that they then can't get out from under.
Yeah. I mean, this is kind of the issue I have with everything that's kind of going on since this administration kind of took effect. I don't mind going through and saying we're gonna halt stuff. We're gonna not do any future spending. That's fine. Totally get on board with that. We're gonna let, kind of like we talked about with Nevi. We'll let the projects that were agreed on. We'll let those go through, but no more funding. I can agree with that. Same thing with Rivian here. We gave you the funding. The new administration may not like it, but you're going to get it. Don't ask for any more again. That's all you're going to get, and let them have it, because it always been agreed upon, even though it was a previous administration. I feel like we're setting a precedence here for government funding moving forward. Like, hey, if the next president is a different party, they're going to take away funding from all these, Republican initiatives, and then vice versa. I just feel we're going down a dark, slippery path here when it comes to funding and government funding that we may not want to go down. So, right. I mean, that kind of
it's such a bad precedent.
Yeah. Rivian says they're not worried. Well, of course they're going to say that's they're not going to say we're worried about this in public. They're going to say they're not worried about it. Are they internally worried about it? Probably. But, I mean, you can't do anything about it. I mean, my philosophy is, or my feeling is, if something was agreed on, it's been funded, you agreed to fund it, it's a loan, so they're going to have to pay it back. So it's not like it's just a grant where they're not having to pay it back. It's a loan. They're going to pay it back. Let it be. But that's I may be in the minority feeling that.
I mean, I agree with you. So
Yeah. So if Sebastian agrees with me, it should happen. So
I am the truth, apparently. Anyway, this last story is not honestly that big of a topic, but I thought it was kind of cool. So Volvo and Polestar EVs are going to be getting new processors. So Volvo and Polestar have announced that its Polestar 3 and EX90 vehicles will be receiving new processors and architecture to help the vehicle support more advanced driver's assistance programs. Volvo and Polestar will be switching these new vehicles to what's called the NVIDIA Drive AGX Orin chipset. Volvo's EX90 currently already uses one of these chips. However, Volvo is planning to add a second to the EX90. But here's what's cool to me. The automakers have announced that they plan to upgrade existing vehicles with these new chipsets at no cost to the consumer. Now, the EX90 and the Polestar 3 have not been on sale for very long, and there's not that many on the road. So, on one hand, it's interesting to see that Volvo has already deduced that they can't do what they want to do with the chipset in the vehicle, and they have to go ahead and switch it. But, I mean, good on them for supporting the, maybe small handful of customers that have these vehicles, but customers nonetheless, and going ahead and saying, hey, we'll go ahead and upgrade you because we know you just bought the car, and it would suck to just buy a car and 6 months later be told it's completely out of date. Tesla.
Yes.
But yeah, I thought it was cool just because it's like, the EX90 has one CPU, and as the tech brain in me is trying to think of like a second CPU to do the full self-driving stack. Is that necessary? Is it going to be amazing? What is, kind of what's the theory on it? But I just also, the fact that they have said, hey, we'll upgrade them for free, whatever. And that also means they had the forethought when they designed this architecture and these chipsets and these brains that they can go in and swap them without probably having to do any major like wire harness retrofits or anything like that. It sounds to me like it's probably pretty plug and play, which is awesome because that means there's some like actual engineering thought behind it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I totally get this. I mean, we've reviewed Volvo cars and we've been on the Volvo forums and things like that. And one of the issues they talk about is kind of the glitchiness of the software. And we've seen some of that, be remedied with software updates. Maybe this just goes another step forward to help some of that, just that smooth transition of the processing speed whenever you're doing stuff in the car. Or maybe they have plans in the future that they will need the extra processing speed that they're going to push out OTA updates where they're going to need that extra speed for. But I'm glad. I mean, this is a great thing for Volvo owners. Like you said, there's not a lot of these on the road. I mean, the EX30 just came out here in the States.
The EX90. This is about EX90.
Oh, EX90.
EX30
sorry,
did just come out.
Got the EX30. So the EX90, there's not a lot of them on the road. So the EV models. So I mean, it's pretty cool. I'm glad they're doing it. By the way, that's a really cool Polestar in that picture. The Polestar 3.
Oh,
really
yeah.
cool.
No, the Polestar 3 is a very cool looking car. I wish we had a Polestar dealer close to us.
Yeah. Polestar 3
wasn't all the way in Dallas.
Yeah, the Polestar 3 is a really cool looking car. I sit here and salivate at it. But I'm glad they're doing it for the new cars. Other makers should probably take heed to what the Volvo's doing because this just kind of, brings back, knowing I buy a Volvo, I can kind of guarantee, hey, if I wanted to buy another one down the road, Volvo may go ahead and take care of me when something like this happens. So kudos to Volvo for being, great with customer service.
Yeah, and this isn't the first time we've seen them do this either. They've previously announced that they plan to upgrade all their vehicles that currently run Google Automotive to the new version found in the EX90 and the EX30. So these are vehicles that go all the way back to, I believe, like 2018. And they're planning to either through an OTA or, through a dealership program, update them to do the new version of Android Automotive at no cost.
Yeah.
Which is great. Like, cool. Which, I don't expect a cost for over-the-air updates to TBH. But still, the fact that, they're continuing to develop and say they're developing and actually releasing stuff for these vehicles, that's 2018, 2019 model year. We don't see many automakers still doing that outside of Tesla. Tesla still updates, their early vehicles or whatever, even if it's maybe infrequently, but they still do it. And so, it's cool to see an automaker other than Tesla kind of doing the same commitment to their customer.
Yeah, you don't want to be the company that gives customers something and then 3 months later it's out of date. And you're like, wait a minute, I just bought this. How can it be 3 months out of date? So, yeah, kudos to Polestar. Tesla's been doing it for a while. Hopefully other automakers will kind of follow in that direction too, but pretty cool.
All right. So, Joel, what did we do this week?
what did we do this week besides it snow here in Arkansas? Let's see. What did we do this week? On Monday, we released a video of the Chevy Blazer. So shout out to Everett Chevrolet of Benton. Got that correct, right? Yeah, gotta watch my Benton and Bryan areas. They get mad if you mess them up. Everett Chevrolet Benton for letting us have a. It was the LT trim. What was it? No, what was it?
It wasn't LT trim.
It was.
But it was a
trim.
lower end of the LT trim.
Yeah. So which is pretty cool. So as Sebastian messaged in that video, when we usually go to dealerships, they want to. When we get a car, they want to give us the best to review. So we usually get top of the line. We'll get a Lariat, or we'll get a premium, or a GT Mustang Mach-E or something like that. It was nice that we got a lower end model of the Blazer, because that is probably what a majority of people are going to buy, especially with the EV tax credit, which is technically still available. If they that may be a whole nother episode in a couple of weeks, but yeah. So with that, if you get a car for around, I believe that car was stickered for what, 40, high 40s. I can't remember.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, 47, 48 plus the tax credit. You're talking about around a $40,000 car for a Blazer, which is nice because it is bigger than Equinox. Same kind of interior, same kind of function as the Equinox, but a little bit bigger. But it was nice. I mean, we didn't get to do a lot of testing with it. I would have liked to have done now, since I've been reading on the blogs a little. Probably some cold weather testing, because I'm seeing some issues on the blogs and on the things about the Blazers and the heat pump maybe not working quite as well. But these people have been saying it's like -6 degrees and it's blowing cold heat. So I don't know if there's any truth to that or not. But
Okay.
So I was just curious what it would be like in cold weather. We get cold weather around here, but it may be 2 or 3 days. Like, this is probably the coldest it's been, and it was probably 18 degrees when I woke up this morning, and that's the coldest it's probably ever going to get here.
What time did you wake up? It was like 9 when I woke up.
Well, I was off today, so
True. You didn't have to go to work, right?
My work was out today for snow, so I got to stay up late and do some gaming and sleep in. So that was the nice part about it. So I don't have little kids like you do, Sebastian. They don't wake me up in the mornings. They do their own thing.
Well, I actually woke up before her because I had to go to work. So.
Gotcha. But yeah, I mean, I was thoroughly impressed with it. I mean,
yeah, I liked it. I mean, again, we didn't spend a whole lot of time with it, but we did take it and we got to, plug it in at like. Now, I've done some research, by the way, on since we've done the video. We plugged it in at like 33%, 34%, and I was impressed because I plugged it in and it immediately called for 500 amps. But in the video, we saw it kind of immediately then start to walk its way back, and we figured it wasn't technically done preconditioning, and so that's what I figured. Yeah. But now, after I go and look at it, it was actually just following the charge curve. It hits about 34% and then immediately falls off of the 500 amp, which, I mean, is okay.
Yep.
Ultimately, we said it in the video. That's the one place you kind of can fault the Blazer for most on, is that it's 2025 and it has a 150 kilowatt peak charge rate, at least on the current battery pack, which is 85 kilowatt hour. I believe they do plan to bring the bigger 102 kilowatt hour battery pack, I think it is, to the model, which is the same battery you can find in the Lyric. And that one has a peak of, I believe, 190 kilowatts. And then with the death of Ultium and these new battery packs that GM might be developing, we might actually see better speeds, because ultimately what's happening is it's like it pulls 500 amps. 500 amps is 500 amps. But because of the way they do all this very, the modular design of the packs, when they start removing the modules, voltage drops. And so then it's 500 amps, but it's only at like 310 volts.
Yeah.
And so, you can't do a whole lot with that.
What still boggles my mind is why haven't more automakers, hit that high speed charging, like the Kias and the Taycans and like that. I mean, Ford, Chevy, GM, they're still all sitting at that 150 kilowatt. I mean, kind of like max curve. I mean, max charge. I don't know why are they worried that much about the batteries? And Kia's like, screw it. We're just going to go blaring out there, and if batteries have issues, which from what I'm reading, they're not having issues with degradation in the Hyundai batteries.
The issues with the EGMP stuff is not the high voltage batteries.
It's the 12 volt. It's the 12 volt that's the issue. So I'm just trying to figure out why. We see it in the Taycan, we see it in Lucid. About hitting that 230 kilowatts where you're in and out in 20 minutes. I just don't understand why we haven't seen that across the board from other automakers, especially the American automakers.
Yeah, I think there's just some hesitancy on putting that much of a C rate through the batteries as well. I guess, they're talking, I think the most you get on most of these American EVs is like 2C. The average is like 1.5, 1.3 C. You know, they're not really stressing the battery pack at all. Whereas on the EGMP stuff, you know, you're in theory getting almost 3 C, I believe it is, if I'm doing the mental math correctly. And I think that's just ultimately what it is. I think the Korean automakers are willing to, you know, gamble a little bit more.
Yeah.
Especially if the gambling turns out and makes it to where A, it didn't harm the battery much, and B, it means they have the best charging EV on the market.
Yeah.
In theory. In theory, as long as you don't need to precondition.
Yes.
But, you know, so I think that's kind of where we're at there. And of course, you know, the other hand of it too is, especially like the Ford strategy is, yeah, they maybe don't have the highest peaks, but they are consistent.
Yes. You plug in 150, boom.
Every time.
Yes. Which I would take consistent over fluctuation. You know, if I plug in knowing from this percent to this percent, I'm going to get 150 kilowatts. I'd be fine with that. Just like for those 5 days that you could charge the key at the Tesla supercharger station, I took it in, you know, to charge it. And at about 50%, it ramped up to 97 kilowatts, which is not great.
Because you weren't fully warmed up yet.
Yeah, it wasn't fully preconditioned. But from 53% to 80%, 97 kilowatts the entire time. I can live with that. I don't have to worry about it going down because charging my Tesla, once you get to around 50, 60%, you're going to start seeing that number probably very close to that. So, and then it just starts coming out. I have no problems plugging into, if I knew that if every time I plug my key into a Tesla supercharger, that it'd go from this percent to this percent and I'd get 100 kilowatts, I'd be fine with it. I know I could predict my charging time there, which from 35 to 40% to 80% was only 25 minutes, which I didn't think was that bad, only getting, you know, the kilowatts that I got. I can live with that. It's that you're going to get 150 and then boom, you're going to get, you know, 60 for the next, you know, 20%. That's the issues that I have.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And so Joel, what are we doing this weekend?
So this weekend we have our first of the year Cars and Coffee event coming up. So excited about that. It's going to be a little chilly out, but it's going to be, if you're listening to this on Friday and you're in the Little Rock area, stop by Franklin Charging. That's off Woodruff there in 630. And come out for some Cars and Coffee. So we will be there. Also, Gwatney Buick GMC is going to be providing us a Hummer SUV to have out there. Get to pick it up tomorrow and have some fun with it. So Volvo Auto will also be out there. So if you've seen a lot of our videos before, especially some of our install videos, they partner with us. They're great. They're going to have a couple cars out there. I believe you're picking up one. I think Doug's going to bring one over. So we'll have some Teslas on display too. And also, you know, all the car owners that are EV owners are going to be out there. They'll have their cars on display too. We have that coming. We have that this weekend. We'll be raffling off a free charger, courtesy of the EV podcast. We'll have a 3 level 1 charger out there.
A couple of random swag items.
We'll have a couple of cheap random swag items.
And
some stickers and things like that. And just a great time.
You can still have some cups.
I got plenty of cups. So we had some swag left over. Just a time to meet people and have some fun, talk about EVs. I know JT has his new chargers up and running out there. I think he's still trying to work out some glitches with them, but you'll be able to check those out and see what those, I forget the name of them. What are they? They're the CP.
I think the ChargePoint Express Plus, I think is what he installed.
The 250s are the old ones he has, which he moved. So it's the CP Plus that he has out there. So so hopefully all this weather will be gone, which it is. It's going to be mid-40s. Coffee is free, so you don't have to pay for coffee. You just have to pay for pastries and sodas and orange juice if you want it. But come on out and join us and meet us and get some swag and maybe a free level 1 charger.
And talk to other EV owners. You might find out, you know, you might meet some friends that have the same car as you. Who knows?
Yep.
All right. Well, that is a wrap for today's episode. Thank you all for plugging into the Friday Charge. Be sure to subscribe to the EV Geek podcast on YouTube and tap that notification icon to be notified about new releases. Next week, we release, it's kind of BMW week next week, isn't it?
It's BMW week.
Because we released not only a video on the BMW iX, but also the BMW i7.
Yes. Which, if you like BMW, we recently released our i5 video. By the way, loved the BMW's great luxury, you know, fantastic vehicles. Please check out those reviews because there are some little things that we think take a little bit of proof on. But it's always great driving a $130,000 EV around. So,
it's a good day. It's a good day for a hobby. Yeah,
it's a good day for a hobby. So
so those will be out, and then of course, as always, on Friday you will have our weekly news episode. If you guys have any thoughts or questions, drop them in the comments below. We would love to hear from you. So long, everyone. and we will see you again on the next episode of The Friday Charge.